the fuck?
雷の呼吸石の型
Hold up.
俺の体の柔らかさを見くびったね
What is going on, everyone? This is Leifon here, and welcome back to the official Otaku Crew podcast. I'm your host, Leifon, as I clearly just stated, and I'm excited to be doing this episode because the topic we're covering is one of those mainstream animes that I've wanted to do for a while, but the opportunity never came around. Well, let's just say that without giving too much away. And so before I dive into the topic, I'm going to give it up to my panelists first. I have Rek in the house. Rek, what is going on?
What's up, Leifon? It's glad to be on the show. Normally I'm behind the scenes, but I'm glad to be up front.
Glad to have you back, Rek. I know we haven't recorded it in a while together, but yeah, let's make the magic happen today.
Yep, we all have busy lives. Now I'm glad to be amongst weeps.
It's always a pleasure. And finally, one of our newest panelists I would like to introduce. He's a longtime friend of mine and Rek, and just overall just a nice guy. My God, this handsome devil of a person.
Oh, behave.
Can't say enough
I can
about
vouch for
him.
that.
I'd like to give it away to Zan.
Thanks for the very heartwarming intro there.
Always. So Zan, tell everyone a bit about yourself. Who are you?
Who am I? I am a fellow weeb,
You don't say!
and I'm a thorough enjoyer, mainly of action, anime, and mystery anime as well. You know, anything detective story I'm super into, but obviously I'm also thoroughly into the anime that we'll be discussing today.
All right, that's the good stuff. So, without much further delay, everyone, before I give you the name away, I have to give a shout out that you should be following us on all of our media sites. So it's Anchor.fm, Spotify, as well as YouTube, the official Otaku Crew, where you catch all of our content. And we're hoping to drop more content on the YouTube page in the coming months or so. And of course, the return of Tensa, because I know you all miss him and his shenanigans. With that out of the way, this is what we're discussing today. It is the Demon Slayer Swordsmith Village arc, the movie. Quote unquote the movie. You guys can't see it, but I'm doing the quote thing with my fingers when I say movie. And so I like to give a little, well, I don't, but it's best that I give a small synopsis of Demon Slayer in case you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Why are you even here? I know, I'm kidding. You're all busy people, but I gotta give a small synopsis. So it is the following, and I have it right in front of me. It is this. Tanjiro, a kind-hearted boy who sells charcoal for a living, finds his family slaughtered by a demon. His younger sister Nezuko, the sole survivor, has been transformed into a demon. Though devastated by this grim reality, Tanjiro resolves to become a demon slayer so that he can turn his sister back into a human and defeat the demon who massacred his family. Pretty short and simple, very shonen, so to say.
It usually is.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, there's a cause, there's a goal, there's an end point. Very, very typical, and I personally like it. And the animation, spot on. But this is not much of a spoiler for anyone who did go see the movie, but I will be perfectly honest, I felt very scammed.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, that's unfortunate.
Rek, you were there with me.
I do agree with that factor. It's kind of like what they did for the train one, where it was just kind of a recap of what's going on and what to expect further. Now, the only aspect of the whole thing I did enjoy was seeing some of the good stuff from the previous season on a big screen, and surround sounds, of course, which is fantastic. But more or less, if we wanted to know more about like the upcoming arc, I was fine with just waiting till the release date.
It's very understandable. So here's the thing, what I find, maybe my opinion on this is wrong, but bear with me. Dominantly, all the anime-based movies I've ever seen, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, etc., they don't often connect to the main storyline. They're often their own story, which sometimes become adapted into a series later on. We got Dragon Ball Z, Battle of the Gods, and so forth. But what I liked when Demon Slayer did the first time, when season 1 dropped, when it ended, it left us at the Mugen Train, and it's like coming to theater. So I found that was something else, because it's like, if you want to know the rest of the story, you have to go to the movie theater. And long behold, when it did drop at the movie theater, it was its own story. It wrapped up nicely, and it's like, the anime will be streaming back, and so and so. So I found it was a genius move, because honestly, this is the first time I've personally ever seen something like this. Because, like I said, the rest of the movies are not usually canon. They're their own self-contained story, because it doesn't really pick up afterwards. Like, I'll give you another example. Naruto, you got all the different Rasengans he does, but go back to the anime, he doesn't do any of those. He doesn't do rainbow style, moon, the Galel one, etc. So when we all heard about the village arc coming, I was like, okay, yeah, the next continuation's coming. That's cool. Very excited. You see the two new Hashiras we'll get to see a bit more of. And then all of a sudden I hear, oh, there's a movie coming. I'm like, what? This doesn't make sense. So I had to be on the scene to go see it. I go see it with Rek and others, and I was thoroughly disappointed, because if I wanted to sit through a recap of season 1 and heavily season 2, I would have just done it at home. But the only thing we really got out of it is not much of a spoiler alert. This is just me telling you the facts. We only saw maybe 20 minutes of the new season. We basically got to see the new season episode 1 before it aired. Now, that is the biggest problem I had with it, because I was like waiting. Okay, they're gonna start. It's gonna start. It's like, nope. You get a bit of fan service. You get a cliffhanger at the end.
What a waste of time.
And I'm like, and I walked out with, I don't know. I didn't know how to feel. And so I'm not trusting as much about when another anime is going to be titled movie, but that's a later discussion. However, that's just my input. Rek, you seem like you thoroughly enjoyed it, because bigger screen, the surround sound, the ambience with friends and everything. Was there anything else you found?
Well, like you said, that we got a bit of a recap, and also we managed to see some cliffhangers as well. A lot of unanswered questions, not the way a movie should end. But what I did like about the other aspect too was, like, we got to witness the upper ranks. Now, I know what I'm saying could be considered spoilers, but I've been on social media, like, not even 2 days, and I can watch the whole movie online.
NANI?!
I don't know how, but at least I know that what I'm saying is not going to hurt me later. Anyway, to get kind of a vibe of what the rest of the enemies are like what kind of group that the Demon Slayer Corps will be facing, that intrigued me. It shows that these guys, now they've played behind the scenes, but now they're going to be serious. There's no more hiding. The only thing that we're going to be witnessing is a slaughter. Now, as dark as that may sound, I'm looking forward to that.
Good.
Honestly, that's what Demon Slayer is contrived of. It's like this dark aspect that it's really enjoyable. I don't know. I see what you mean. I see what you mean in that, and it's been pretty present, well, pretty relevant in a bit of season 1, dominantly in season 2, and now they take it up even further, because now you meet the upper moons. It's like, oh my god, these are the top dogs. This is who everyone fears. Like, damn.
Yeah, especially how they did in the train arc. Like, we got to meet the number 1 lower, and he was a hassle to deal with. But then we have upper 3, and he kicked, unfortunately, serious ass. I say unfortunate because, as we all know, we lost a great character. And wow, how I see it is that even though this was only the beginning, there are 2 others more powerful than the guy we got to witness. I'm now curious to know what kind of skills and abilities those will have.
I see.
Can I chime in?
Sorry, Sam. I was about to say your turn. I apologize.
I was gonna say I'd like to chime in on what Rek was saying right there. Because me too, I'm fully because well, first off, I'm kind of a party pooper here because I did read the manga, and I'm not going to spoil anything
Hang
past.
him. Hang this man. You read the
Yeah,
manga.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to spoil anything past this part, but I will say that I too am extremely excited for what's coming next because I know what's coming, but I'm excited to see it fully animated because like just it's so intense what's coming, you know. So to see that in full motion animation, with especially with the artwork that Demon Slayer has had with the show and everything, it's I'm super hyped for that.
Actually, Zan, I wanted to ask you that since you have read the manga and you saw a bit of the movie or all of it, I'm not sure what you said early on. Does it match up with the manga, or are there some parts that you thought might have been left out?
Well, I mean, don't forget the movie is going to be different from the manga because a lot of it was just a recap, right? So it's that part obviously is going to be different. I guess you could say the pacing is different in the show and the movies than the manga. It's like we have a different type of pacing. There's some aspects that have been taken out. It's hard to say just off the top of my head, but I mean that's the case with every anime adaptation. Every anime adaptation. I don't know a single one that gets it absolutely perfect from manga to anime.
True, rare
The
case.
the closest one I've ever seen ever, like out of all the animes and mangas I've read, the closest thing I've ever seen to a very true adaptation would be Death Note, and even then, there's still some things that are different. Not many,
Mm,
but there's still some things.
hmm So,
I do hope you don't mean the live action from Netflix, right?
Oh,
oh, we don't
please
speak of that
don't.
here.
No, we don't talk about heresy in this podcast.
Goddamn right.
I'm just making sure because we all don't want to be disappointed again.
Uh, oh
And the
no,
only aspect of that film I liked was Will Dafoe as Ryuk. That was a great actor to voice such a devastating character. That's the
It,
only aspect. Everything else sucks.
the worst part about that though is Willem Dafoe was the perfect actor for Ryu,
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
and he did a phenomenal job. However, they even ruined the character Ryu. Not because it was nothing on Willem Dafoe's part, but
No, because there
the
was a lot of
writing.
aspect. It missed information. There was rules that were supposed to be said but never did, and then it's a
Well,
reminder that we
also
never
just
heard.
because Ryuk was a different character in that movie. Ryuk
Yeah.
was in the anime and the manga. He was kind of a bystander. He was just sitting on the sideline and like watching things happen. But in that movie, he was the grand manipulator behind everything, which isn't who Ryuk is. Ryuk is a lazy boy who just he's bored.
All right.
And like we always do, we remind our viewers why it's such a disappointment. Anyway,
Exactly. With that
carry on.
disappointment being stated, though,
Anyway.
what? That's the thing. Sorry, I'm having a moment. Give it a second. It will pass. It will pass.
Take your time, man. Take your time.
Thank you. So, I find that what I sorry, what I like about the Demon Slayer just series overall, what they really masterfully do is like how they split up their seasons. It's not like one season contriving of this storyline, this storyline, this storyline, this storyline, and etc. Like Fairy Tail and often the bigger animes. It's rather that this is a storyline will end it there. This is going to be the next storyline, and I like how they section it off because then I feel like I can follow it along. And once we had the season one, we had Mugen Train, we had the Entertainment District, and now we're having the Swordsmith Village arc. We've seen a lot of art about a drop, and since we got to see the quote unquote the first episode before everyone else, I say that, but social media, as Rex said, has sort of leaked it everywhere. You get to see the next two top moons that they'll be facing, and I'm curious to see like how did these two work. What makes them so intimidating? Because once again, you see them in social media spoilers and leaks, but we don't know much about them at the same time. Now, Zan knows, since he's read the manga, he knows what these upper moons would do. I almost said Hashiras, but we also get to see the Hashiras.
Well, I
in
know
action.
those too.
Yes, you know.
Also, I wanted to ask something because you brought up the art that was dropped for the arc.
Yeah, we'll just start on the topic. The moment he said art, we'll discuss like the art itself.
Sounds good.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay, so, okay.
I don't
So
know.
I
if
guess
you-
start from. I just want to look in the art. So I don't know. Start from there.
So Zan, from the art that dropped about the next arc, sorry, the art that dropped about the next arc, we clearly see the two new Hashiras. We see Tengen. Oh, sorry, Tengen come back. Oh wait, I'm actually looking at the art itself, and I see what you mean.
Yeah,
It just hit me.
yeah.
I played myself.
I'm
I'm
like, that's
done.
the official art release.
Oh, okay, so it was implied. It was implied, and I didn't see it. Oh my god.
Yep.
This video is sponsored by NordVPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. It's a tool that encrypts your internet traffic and hides your IP and virtual location. You might be asking yourself, why do I need this? Well, you like watching anime, right? Or shopping online? Or browsing the internet using the public Wi-Fi? But are you aware of the digital snooper? It can be anyone, such as your internet provider peeking at your internet activities, or a cyber criminal attempting to steal your credit card info, or a hacker near you trying to steal your sensitive data. This is where NordVPN comes in. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite anime content securely and remotely. NordVPN also allows you to overcome internet censorship. All your traffic is routed through a remote server, so you can access websites that are restricted in your country. If you want to watch anime that is only available in Japan and not in your country, then use NordVPN to connect to Japan's server. It's that easy. NordVPN is available on most devices. You can also download NordVPN from the App Store. Use our link to download NordVPN. Get started today to protect yourself.
Like the art itself, I can admit looks fantastic. It gives us a good show of how the characters improve. You can look at the sword too, how it's glowing red. Before he would always use his water technique. Now shows that he's more vast with his fire abilities as well. We also get to see both two other Hashiras on his left. Those guys are showing a lot of promise, especially the girl. She shows a lot of personality for a Hashira, while all the others are very dead. Like, we already know what he's like. And I like in the back how you have, we have like the main guy, like just staring into the shadows.
Oh yes,
now,
Michael Jackson.
You've been hit by a smooth criminal.
Yes, Mr. Michael Jackson.
Can I ask something though?
Sure.
Now there's something in this poster. Okay, it's a massive spoiler. I'm not gonna elaborate, but there is something that is a massive spoiler for what's to come. And it's, if we look at Mr. Michael Jackson himself on the left side of that poster, if you look to the right, that the hair, like the one with the same hair color as Tanjiro there.
Yeah. I've suspected that because this is I can't say too. Should I just say yeah? Spoiler alert. We see a figure like that at the end of the Swordsmith Village movie, but we don't see his face. So the thing is, I'm very torn between: is it that person or is it one of the upper moons who we do get to see with the 8 eyes on his face?
6 eyes.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is it one of those two? Like, I don't know which one of those two it is in this picture. I'm hoping it's the first and not the latter. I'm hoping that's not the upper moon right there.
Audiences will lose their minds the moment it's like, oh, by the way, I'm on the upper moons. It's like, oh no.
What a twist!
I was gonna say there's two. Well, there's two possibilities of who that character is in that poster, right? It's either the upper moon, the unnamed upper moon, or it's the shady character that we keep seeing pop up. And also, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but you said he just popped up at the end of the movie, right?
Yeah, and well, there was another scene before that, right? When Tanjiro's
There
a
was a
kid.
scene in the first
Yes.
season. In the first season.
First season.
The very first time that yes, so I'll even tell you the exact moment it happens in the first season. So in the first season, when Tanjiro first meets Muzan in the village, and then Muzan turns the guy into a ghoul, and then distracts Tanjiro, and then he goes off later and says goodbye to his quote unquote family. You remember the little girl and the woman there?
Yep.
Yes.
He says goodbye to them in the car. Then he walks into an alleyway. Now and then he kills the 3 drunks in the alleyway, the 2 guys and the 1 girl.
Mm-hmm.
And then he snaps his finger, calls the 2 servants of his to go find Tanjiro and kill him. And then he like gets shook, like it puts an extreme focus on his eyes that look really intense, and then he has some kind of flashback and he says Hanamura earrings, and then you see a flash of Muzan on the floor and that character standing over him.
I honestly thought that was Tanjiro's dad. I've been played.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Like, I have my theories as well, like the way that they introduced the character, how they showed the presence of him, and also how they explained the power that he wielded, because the upper rank that we saw in the first movie used to be number 1, but then 2 others took his place. Now, from that alone tells me that these 2 upper guys were fairly recent, and if it's who I think it is, then I'm going to have to say I'm going to be intimidated. I'm kind of scared for what comes, because the fact that someone as powerful as a person that I think is involved is a part of the whole upper ranks, that is terrifying to me, because then they have a whole lot more trouble than they did before.
Yeah. I'm not gonna spoil anything, like I said.
Yep.
But I'm just gonna say you're gonna thoroughly enjoy what's coming.
Yeah. Right now, this is the theory time, and when all of us just come up with random theories, you see what makes sense. We'll be curious enough to look at the manga even, but right now I think it's best for a lot of people to just enjoy the ride and hope for God they don't
Definitely.
or ruin anything else.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, like I said, I've always been a big manga reader. So like, I read the manga, but like, for anybody who's like on the fence, I'd probably recommend to read the manga after the show finishes, just because like, part of the fun is like what you said. It's the theory crafting. It's the whole like love for the mystery, like the mystery behind everything and all that. Like, it's really fun.
Don't get me wrong, like the manga does fantastic work. There have been even some series that I could even say do better than the actual shows themselves, but at this point when we're watching the anime, it's best to enjoy the anime first, then the manga. Like you, I've also read all the manga. I'm up to date on them all, but I'd like to see how they pursue it, because there's always going to be something different regardless. You can go back and forth on different mangas. They'll do the exact same thing. It's like when they did the Harry Potter books. The books had so much information, then the movies didn't have everything. But that's what makes it good, is because they took aspects that we didn't expect to see in real life, and then when we look back on the actual stories, we have more to look at. So it's kind of like a yin and yang kind of situation. We want to see what does good.
One thing I did want to say though, for the this poster here. Okay, so we have that character on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like I said, it could either be that shady character that we saw glimpses of in the first season and towards the end of the last, and so on and so forth. We actually saw a few glimpses here and there. If it's either him or that unnamed Upper Moon. Both ways I'm actually excited to see, but personally, just because of what's delved into the manga, if it is the shady character, personally speaking, if I were them, I would probably make a short film on his backstory and who this character is. I think that would be perfect for a short film for this series.
You hear that, studio? You Ufotable, or whatever your name is. You hear that? This is the $1 million idea you guys need to make up for your blunder.
I'd buy that for $1.
Like, if you want to make a short film, make a short film on that guy's character. That character's story, because there's a lot covered. Like, there's enough content on his story in the manga that could be like an entire episode, which is basically like what the movies are. They're just kind of like long episodes, right? So.
And if you want a good example, look at the upper rank 6. We literally got a whole episode just on his backstory alone. If they can do that for him, they'll do that for every character if they have to.
I hope they do it for that one character. They'll be the shady character, not the unnamed Upper Moon. The shady character.
Yeah. No.
I like I said, I know who it is, but I'm hoping they do an entire short film on his story, because man, I'm gonna say this now. My two favorite characters from the show are Muzan, not because I'm an edgelord or anything, but I like clever characters, and especially in the manga, it's more implied. Although he's made a lot of stupid mistakes, and he's smarter than he looks. And then
Dangerously intelligent, I think is the word to use.
yes, and I'm attracted to characters like that. Me being into like the whole detective fiction stuff.
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
And the other character, the mystery man that we will call him for now, those two are my favorite characters. Muzan and that other character. And that other character is really interesting. Much more human than Muzan, in the sense that personality wise, much more human, much more relatable to Muzan. And I think that's an awesome juxtaposition, obviously, because, well, you'll find out later on, but it's an important distinction between the two. And I feel like, as Rex said before, I'm going to use the same example, but those two are essentially the yin and yang. Especially, there's one quote from Muzan in the manga, but I don't want to say it here, just on the off chance that they actually include it. It's a very ironic quote coming from Muzan, and that's why these two end up are like the perfect yin and yang in the story of Demon Slayer.
All right. Well, based on all that, the only thing I fear happening, because well, since how do I say this? They showed us the intro of the next season, and of course it covers the battles, the two Hashiras fighting, etc. And it looks pretty dope. But the thing is, I fear what will happen at the end of the season is like they kill one of the upper moons, they kill two, or they kill neither, and both Hashiras bite the dust. I don't know. That one of the upper moons, even further, either number one or two, just suddenly will appear, just like in Mugen Train, where they beat the demon on the train. It's all done. There's no way anything was gonna happen, and all of a sudden, what was he, upper third moon just appears out of nowhere. I'm like, where'd you come from? No, seriously, where did you come from? Like, how did you know he was in trouble? It bothered me so much that it happened, because it just didn't correlate in my brain. Unless I missed something during the movie where they're like, let's send the messenger to this guy and he's just gonna come at the very end.
Well, if I recall from the movie, one of them had like this ability to transport everyone to that whole dimension. So it's possible that when they found out that the lower one was in trouble or was in a losing battle, that Muzan had ordered her to, or I forget which one it is, but ordered to send one of the upper threes to check out the situation.
See, if that was the case, I would have liked to have seen Muzan actually declare it, because then you'd be like, oh my god, he's sending one of the big guns. One of the big guns just popped out of nowhere, so that's what kept irking me, and I'm hoping the same thing doesn't repeat in the upcoming anime. Because it didn't happen in the entertainment district, thankfully. I was like, oh, thank god. I just hope it doesn't happen again, but Zan is being quiet about it, and that's what bothers me more, is like, he's like, oh, I know.
Well, I mean, I could tell you if
No,
you
no, no, no,
want.
don't tell me.
No, don't say anything. Don't say. I mean, in a way, when you think about it, it did somewhat happen in the entertainment arc, because if you recall, at the end we see the snake Hashira just show up at the very last minute,
Oh, that's
just to
okay.
scold them. Like, I'm just saying that to be funny.
Oh, I'm perfectly okay with that,
Hmm.
but yeah, all that aside, my problems aside, with Mugen Train and all of that, what is something actually no, I feel like Zan has stated that this is what we're looking forward to, but what else can we look forward to in the Swordsmith village arc? Aside from all the fan service people are gonna get from the #1 Hashira girl, blah blah blah.
Personally, what I would like to see in the Moon arc, not the Moon arc, the Swordsmith arc, is I want to see Inosuke and Zenitsu. I know they all went on separate missions, but I find that would be kind of a last minute add-on if they went if they knew their friend was in trouble and they went to go help him.
I suspect they're gonna come running. I don't know why, but you just see Zenitsu just run by. He's like, Nezuko!
There's also, I just noticed on the poster something else. I'm hoping they elaborate further in the anime than they did in the manga, because for me, in my opinion, it's a pretty important like piece of information that they kind of just glance over in the manga. I'm not going to spoil it on the off chance that they do, but all I'm going to say is the Mist Hashira is very closely tied to the events of Demon Slayer. Let's put it that way.
All right, all right. That's something everyone should be on the lookout for with the Mist Hashira.
Yes,
I mean, I've noticed that too as well. Like even when they were, even at the end of it too, there was a connection that I'm not too sure if you saw that too, Leifon, but when you saw him like arguing with the little boy, that shows like that the Swordsmith's village had more like of an impact on the kid than it did on anything else. Not the young one, but the Hashira.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's a connection there that we all need to pay attention to.
Oh yeah, the argument, right?
It's not so much that he's indirectly kind of tied to everything. He's not like don't get me wrong, you don't start thinking like, oh, he's like a grand manipulator or anything like that. No, it's nothing like that. He's how can I word this without spoiling anything? He's closely tied to the what's the word I'm looking for? It would be like the word used for somebody who sparks the fire, if you will.
Oh, okay. I think I have an inkling of what you mean, I think, but I won't go too far in that rabbit hole unless I see it myself.
But he's closely tied to pivotal characters, let's just say.
All right.
Right? Don't say any further. I'd like to be surprised.
I'm not going to say anything further from there. That's like that. Essentially, that's where I'll stop that. But I'm just saying, I hope that they do elaborate further in the anime.
Oh, I hope so too, of course. But with that though, something interesting about that altercation that's still on my mind. So the Miss Hashira is like talking to a kid, and the kid is from the village, of course, and he's arguing back. But at the time, Tanjiro is on his way to find the ultimate weapon that's a legend or something. So I'm speculating a few things. I feel like, of course, the weapon is going to be sword, or I don't know, it's going to be the cliche of you went on this journey, you became a man. So don't quote me on that. And it's like it was the journey that really formed you and all that. You went through all these troubles, and I'm like, my boy's already going through a journey. He's going through tough times. He does not need this.
That's rough, buddy.
He doesn't need the extra burden.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot going on in that arc. I guess you can say like there was already stuff going on, and as you said, he seems to be already forced into a whole other situation. Our poor boy doesn't catch a break.
Side missions, man, left, right, and center.
Yeah, so he's taken on the side quest and hasn't even completed the main story yet.
Is this
I mean,
interesting?
heck, sometimes you need to take the side quests to be able to beat the story.
Is that so?
Every Skyrim player will tell you the same.
Amen.
But it's funny how we're more invested in the Miss Hashira than the girl. Okay, just for the sake of all the fanboys out there, the girl was just comedic relief to me personally, because she's like, what was it? She became strong so she could marry a strong man? I can't remember what it was. Well,
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
just like,
that
damn.
little aspect. It wasn't the exact words, but it's a similar aspect.
I was like, okay, this is why you put your fan service comedic relief. But I'm sure when push comes to shove, when the fighting actually happens, the top-notch anime quality will prove me wrong. I'm sure of it. But this is how the movie sold, based on that character. That's it, that's all.
She also made a very impactful first appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone who saw the movie knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the censored scene?
Yes.
The one scene that we all got to see in, what, 150 inches? On the big screen?
Yes.
Oh, on the big screen. Okay.
I mean, that's how big it is, right? It's about like 150, the width.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway,
the
big
screen, right?
Yes, the screen.
The big, impactful, eye-opening, every weeb's little joy in sight. Oh my god! Imagine if they played like High School DxD on that in the theater.
Oh god, no,
I
no,
have
no,
a
no, no.
question. Did the room start getting a lot more moist and sweatier? Like
I
when
felt like
that scene came on?
There was definitely a
the energy
change in atmosphere.
exploded. It sort of exploded in there. Like, first the opening of season 1, of course, there was a high intense energy for that. And I heard someone singing, I'm gonna be honest, because the first opening very catchy. And then this scene, everyone's like, oh, there it is. There it is. This is what I paid my money's worth.
What's her
It's
name again? It's Mitsuri, yeah?
Mitsuri, I
I
believe.
don't know, man. I forgot. I'm gonna be honest.
There's so
I
many
suck with
characters.
names.
Adding that to my homework folder? No, I don't.
Oh boy, oh boy. So yeah, there was clearly a lot of stuff happening in the 20 minutes of that, fine, 25 minutes of the sneak peek of the next coming anime season. However, I'm hoping it's not 25 minutes of the actual anime. I'm hoping, I don't know, we get that 1 hour special. It's very rare that that happens, very rare, but I'd like to be optimistic that we will get that, but if we don't, I don't mind rewatching because there's probably something I missed. And based on that, the fact his Tanjiro's Smith has gone missing, I'm like, ooh, okay, so there's a deeper storyline going on here. Spoiler alert for anyone, I'm just saying that anyways, but I'm interested how that's gonna happen. What is so devastatedly going on that he goes missing? Zan, don't you spoil me on this one. I'm spitballing here. What about you, Rek? Did you notice anything? You picked up on anything that stood out in the 25-minute special of the next season?
Well, one thing that was definitely interesting was also the masks. That's like it was weird. I thought it was only just like a few characters who did it, but then seeing an entire village do it, I was like, okay, there's a theme there. And then I did some research myself and realized why the whole village wears a mask. In a way, it's incredible. That's like really deep thinking right there, because I don't know if they would be considered spoilers to tell, but there is a meaning behind why all of them wear a mask. Would I be able to say it, or you think I should?
That's a tough one. Well,
like it's just a theory. I see it all
Go
over the
for it.
internet, but at the same time, I'm just a little afraid.
Honestly, do it. I have a theory too, but It's to protect their identities. I don't know, but
Well,
what's the theory?
that's actually the theory, is because think about it. The swordsmiths are the only ones who forge the blades that can take on the demons. So why they wear masks is to hide their identities, because if the demons know who exactly is in charge of making the swords, or who does the swords, then of course they're going to go after them. So by having a whole village hide their faces, the demons won't even know who exactly it is who forges the swords. Otherwise, they'll all be in danger.
Okay, I see your point. Yeah, I was sort of on the similar basis because I'm like, it must be really tough doing swordsman crafting with the mask on. I'm like, how are you even breathing that well? Like, Jesus.
I mean, we just went through a pandemic of 2 years of wearing masks. I think it's under the same little theory right there.
Okay, yeah, you make a good point.
Maybe not much, but maybe. But yeah, so that theory is probably the most accurate I believe, but once again, it's up to audiences at that point in time. And honestly, I find stylistically the creators were being lazy on purpose because it's like, oh, we already draw so many faces. I was just gonna put a simple face on this one that's never gonna really change. But still, even regardless of that mask, you can sort of tell the character behind it can convey the emotion behind it, and I guess that's thanks to the masterful dubbing by the Japanese or the English voice actors. Is that just to get it right, you can't really see what's going on behind the mask, but just the voice, the pitch, the tone, everything, you can tell like what they're really thinking. This is my theory behind it, of course. It's just my input.
Fiore?
Yes, it is. Um, hmm. So I think we've more or less.
Also, there was
Say it.
on the sorry.
Say it, Zan. I know you want to say something.
If you have something to say, then just spit it out already.
I was gonna say on the subject of fan services, if you will, for Mitsuri there. There was also I just wanted to know your guys' opinion, but like, how did you feel about the whole situation with Daki?
Underage child, yes. I sort of had a feeling she wasn't one of the upper moons. When I first saw her, I'm like, she's not that broken. She's aight. And then, well, then we saw what happened. But focusing just on that character, I was like, okay, this is the character that you don't like. Like, you're really rooting for the protagonist to, like, put her in her place type of feeling. That's what I had. Because just the way she carried herself, the pompousness, the egotistical aspect. Smart. Very well done. So easy to dislike, though.
I mean,
This one I don't think of the same character. That's the second upper six, right? The one with the scarves, or is that a different one?
That's the one.
Okay, just making sure I know. There's just so many characters I need to keep track of. But yeah, no, she came. What I didn't like about that one though is that she played the role of a villain like very well. Like I found her presence in the entertainment arc was presented pretty good for like a villainess. But then midway, after we found out that there's a second one involved in the upper six, I found her character really diminished. Like they were playing her so well, like a character that we could both appreciate as a villain and hate, and then afterwards it just went to spoiled little brat. I didn't like that. That's one aspect I didn't really like about her.
Because her own Nichan came.
Exactly.
But Zan, it looks like you have something else to say.
no, I was actually listening. I mean, that was my question. It was your
Okay.
thoughts on the character and
I found it was interesting though, the aspect of two upper moons, like how they were linked together too. I was like, damn. It wasn't. I know it wasn't Muzan who made them demons. Is the other one? I forget his name. He's the second upper moon, right?
Yeah.
The
He
crazy-
used to be number 6,
Mhm.
but then he got an upgrade, and now
A few
he's
upgrades.
number 2.
Yeah, so it's like, what kind of twisted man did that to two siblings and sealed their fate into that. It's like, damn, this guy is. There's really something about him. Like I can't put my finger on it. Just the way he jokes around and everything. But at the same time, just that aspect, because we can tell he's a very twisted individual. We see at the end of the special episode of the Swordsmith Village arc, we see that he appears somewhere like in a temple, and it looks like he has his own what is it, covenant or cult going on. So I'm like, how would this tie in? So it's like, damn, he's a very conniving character that I find, but I guess we'll see as we go along. I know Zan knows the details, and I've heard a bit about him here and there. Like, why doesn't Muzan just kill him off or anything? Because he's just the way he is. It's like, no, he needs him because he's a good weapon to use. But
Wait, kill who?
the one the second moon, the crazy one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just had to say that, the crazy one. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Daki and the second upper moon. Rek, you have any other thoughts on that?
Nope, I think we've covered most of the important stuff.
Yeah. So I gotta ask this question as I'm trying to do it more often in every episode. Rek, would you advise any friends to watch the Swordsmith Village movie arc, or would you say just wait till the anime drops?
Well, how I'll answer that is basically like, because we've all seen the train arc.
Yeah.
And as we all know, like, even Demon Slayer on any network has shown season 2. That's basically episodic version of train arc. There's a point where we can look at both of them and have our opinions by then. I'm not saying don't watch it, like, get your opinions, but at the same time, it's like a personal perspective. Like I said, I'm going to use the train arc as an example because the movie did fantastic, but then when they did the episodic version, they just gave up halfway. But now when they did this movie, we got to witness a little bit of a recap of the train arc, and then we got to witness a little bit more of what's coming up. So it's all a matter of opinion. The only thing I can say is don't watch it in theaters. Save your money.
I was going to say the same thing.
I was about to say, I think people could watch it if they're not paying additional money. If you're not paying additional money, then go ahead. You're losing nothing but time if you want to put it that way. But I mean, if it's not really time loss if you're genuinely curious. But yeah. So if you're curious, I'd probably recommend yes. Watch it, but don't pay for it. And then if not, then just wait.
But basically, all three of us agree: watch it, but just don't pay for it.
Exactly.
Plain and simple.
The only thing you need to pay for is maybe the popcorn. That's it.
Pretty much, and snacks and all that good stuff. But with that, I think we've given our thoughts and opinions on the Swordsmith Village movie arc, more or less. And with that, we'll be tying up today's episode. I want to thank anyone who's listening to the episode once we've posted on Spotify or YouTube or whichever other platforms you listen to your podcast on. I would like to give a shout out to our social media handles. We have Instagram, Think Otaku Crew. We got TikTok, the official Otaku Crew, where I post sneak peeks and highlights of all of our episodes that we're dropping on YouTube. Once again, be sure to check out the Twitch channel, the official Otaku Crew, where I do some game streaming. I'll be hoping to do more with Zan and some other people involved in the podcast. And join the Discord squad so you can get all these announcements. And whenever we drop, whenever we go live, discussions, debates, and all that good stuff. My name's Leifon, and I'm signing out for tonight, guys. Peace.
I'm Rek Endeavor. I bid you all a good day.
And I'm Zan, and I bid you all farewell.